As Nigeria marks Democracy Day to commemorate the restoration of democracy, the PDP has raised serious concerns over what it describes as state capture under the APC-led federal government, accusing it of systematically compromising Nigeria's key democratic institutions, including the National Assembly, the Judiciary, and electoral bodies. In a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, the PDP alleged that the APC has embarked on a coordinated campaign to dismantle democratic checks and balances, silence opposition voices, and concentrate power in the hands of a few elite individuals, thereby endangering the sovereignty of the Nigerian people. According to the PDP, the disturbing trend of the state capture is evident in the alleged collusion between the executive arm and what it calls a rubber stamp National Assembly, as well as the actions of certain compromised judicial officers who it claims now act in ways that erode public confidence in the rule of law. The National Assembly has increasingly failed to act as an independent arm of government, often rubber-stamping executive excesses rather than holding it accountable, the statement read. Similarly, certain judicial rulings in recent times suggest deep compromise, raising fears about the erosion of judicial independence. The PDP also pointed to what it described as the subversion of democratic processes in Edo and Rivers State, including the imposition of unelected officials including the imposition of unelected administrators and the undermining of elected officials, a sign of authoritarian tendencies. Beyond institutional compromise, the PDP accused the APC government of weaponizing poverty as a political tool to suppress dissent and control the populace. By maintaining economic hardship and failing to implement effective social welfare policies, the party argued the government has created conditions that makes it difficult for Nigerians to demand accountability. The PDP reaffirmed its readiness to challenge what it describes as the APC's creeping authoritarianism and pledged to continue mobilizing for a stronger, more transparent democracy ahead of the 2027 general elections. Chizi, the PDP had a lot to say. Now, what is your take on the position of the PDP?
You know, I've never been this person that will say because you did it, the present person should do it and that it makes it right. But I want to keep that first. Let's go back to history. My problem is that the voices that are crying now are the voices that have done same and even worse.
Interesting.
That's my problem. When I begin to see people, you see, sometimes I think I pray that one day APC will also leave government. And if you go back to 2013 or 2014, you could just change the whole of this script to APC saying that of PDP. Right? The same thing would have been what the APC was saying, the president being a member of the APC and all of that, saying that against Goodluck Jonathan, that they were trying to cripple democracy institutions and all of that. We know that. Now let's trace back the history and look at the PDP the things they have done. Check, for instance, it was only in PDP that we had 4 Senate presidents emerge in 4 years. In PDP. When you hear executive rascality, in fact, one of those scenarios that the former president Obasanjo went to a party with Chuba Akadibo in that same night, the next morning, Chuba Akadibo was removed as Senate president. Look at the amount of changes in the Senate by Obasanjo. It was in Obasanjo that a state of emergency was declared, 2 states were declared, and states also that so that Mr. was nominated. It wasn't bad. The vice president was Atiku, that is now in PDP. They are all there. They were all members of that party. It was in Obasanjo that a House of Assembly sat in somewhere and impeached a sitting governor. It was PDP. Why did you move it from being PDP? Again, if you also reverse it, then you look at them now. So the APC were also crying. That means that if APC has also gone back to do the same thing, they were also crying. It means that. But the question I like to ask is, like, if you listen to when the president was actually addressing the National Assembly yesterday, it was a very funny one. And it was purely an indictment of the PDP and other opposition party. He says to them that they will not have him to come and arrange their house. Lauricia, if we are not having issues now, if there's no fight in this organization, none of us will know how you run this organization. But if there's a fight in this organization, be sure that externals will come and take up your people and begin to go. PDP as it is now, I do not even see them, because they are a party that I love, that would have done well sitting together. I'm also happy that PDP is speaking. Of recent, the PDP as a party is beginning to speak, because what happens in the past is that individuals were just speaking as individuals, not as even as party. And so the PDP is speaking now, and I want to applaud them for that. But I want to say that they should trace all that they have said and see whether that's not what they did. Please tell me, if not of recent, do you have any other political party, quoted unquote, in Rivers State? In fact, the primaries of PDP, as at then, were much stronger than the general election. As soon as you win the primaries of PDP, I ran an election under ANPP, which is now the APP, and House of Reps. And we were in the same club with somebody. As soon as that one person, I went for House of Reps. Now look at, I was going for a higher position, and I clicked the candidacy of the party, of the ANPP. Now somebody in the same club clicked the candidacy of the party in PDP as councillor. My club contributed money and gave to him, and didn't give to me that was running a higher election. Do you know why? They were sure that he is already a councillor, and they were not sure that I was going to win. That was the case we had in PDP then. In fact, that parties are even beginning to talk. This is a new revolution that we have opposition party talking. Then it didn't have opposition party talking. Everybody, in fact, the Action Congress AC then had to reduce to their own region, to begin to host where of their own region. Then look at again, when President Obasanjo was going to go back to the second tenure, right? In the whole of the Southwest, only Lagos survived it, and we know how Lagos survived it. Only Lagos survived it. They swamped the entire place. How? Before you knew, they were announcing their results and they got everything. So as at then, PDP had almost 25 governors.
So it was a one state.
It
was literally one state.
One party.
So PDP practiced state capture first. Is that what you're saying?
They thought people had to capture it
before
any other political party
came.
So
because they had about 26 states.
26 states.
PDP during their time.
During their time, you could just see that the only state that went off was even in Anambra. Look at how Chris Oba and all of that.
The entire Southeast was PDP at that time.
Was PDP. Look at
the South was PDP, yes.
The entire South.
Southeast was
Southeast was
where they couldn't get enough was the North. Part of the North, some of the northern states.
3 states in the North. If you say part, it's just 3 states in the North that the Zamfara, not even Sokoto, and that state.
Kano.
No,
Kano State was PDP.
PDP,
time, yes.
Kano State was PDP. So it was just another political party that, when it was in 2003, yes, that Shakaro won in Kano, as against Kwankwaso.
Yes.
And immediately, Obasanjo gave Kwankwaso the Minister for Defense, and that Minister for Defense was too loud. If Kwankwaso was going into Kano, you will see jet up everywhere as if president was going, because they wanted to recapture the place. And so they are the one that had taught Nigerian. You remember PDP once boasted that they were going to be in power for 60 years. So what I'm saying that
it was a state capture at that time.
It was purely
national capture.
It was a national capture.
Not just a state.
You couldn't just mention any other political parties. Then Onu was the chairman of ANPP. You could literally walk into Onu's office as national chairman. You could see, but it was difficult to get to the office of the PDP chairman in the state, Rivers State. I'm not talking about national, but literally you could just go speak with Onu. I would travel with Onu, bring Onu to this place, and then Oyegu was the South vice chairman, and we just bring ourselves, and then we were talking to ourselves because it was like just a club. Every other political party was there. In fact, it was even the AC that had the Awolowo fin, those things, the regional fin. They reduced AC, the aid then, they reduced aid to a regional party. They reduced them, and in 2003 they captured all. Took all by force. So their own. This is state. Their own is national capture. But again, that does not mean that it is good. Again, I want to say that if there was an institution that has enjoyed stability, would have been the PDP. But the PDP has not shown that they were a party in the first instance. PDP has not shown. Let's look at even the AC, the APC. Would you, if I say that it's even the PDP element in the APC that is coming to scatter APC, would I be wrong? It was even PDP that gave APC the victory. Amechi in 2015, you know, and those PDP persons that gave APC victory. Look at again here now. You look at that, you see that in the Senate, who is holding swear? A PDP blood, Ababio. FCT minister, PDP. Those are the people even doing the job now. So what are we even talking about? If you check in the APC and look at whether there are APC offices around there, those who are core APCs that are controversial, it's the PDP that went there to say, okay, this is how we do it. So what are we even talking about? What is even the PDP talking about? The PDP should go back, look at themselves, and apologize first to Nigerians for what they taught people to do. You know, there was something that happened one time. We were running an election in my village, and I went to the election. You know, I was there. We were just running an election. It's a youth election. All of a sudden, some people just captured the election when they had announced it and went on air and announced it. I was so angry, and they respect me so well. So I summoned everybody to my place, and I said, "Why did you do this?" I was shouting and telling them how it was not good for a village to do this and all of that, and all of that. After I defeated them with that kind of thing, plus the respect they have for me, one young man just stood up and said, "Okay, no first, so what do we do that you teach us?" It was so tough. That's it. It's okay, no vex, so this is the way we do that you teach us. So you have to allow us go. Who told you I won't be weak? No matter how I pretend to be, no matter what you pretend, PDP has consistently. what is it? Who told you that? What is PDP? If not for Yaradua, if not when that Yaradua came, do you know what would have happened? Even Amechi wouldn't have come as governor. If it was another person that was, if Obasanjo had handed over to Atiku and they had given Omehi the governor, which court would rule against him? But because of Yaradua, that's a single person. The when Yaradua now went out, Jonathan came and Jonathan started doing the little. What did the PDP do? Was it not also PDP who removed PDP? It was not PDP who betrayed them. That's why the North, you know, all of a sudden APC threw in people who were even ready to become governor, and they became governor. Because even those northern governors that were in PDP betrayed PDP during presidential election, and they didn't know there was going to be a bad one going to effect on their own side. That's why they lost. They thought that they could vote in Buhari, and then during their own election, then the people will now vote in. And they have not thought about our voters' education. That if you do that, it will be difficult to do. The only person that had tried that and it happened was Wike, who gave it to APC in the presidential and then came back. But even at that presidential, remember that even the assemblies, the senators and the national assemblies, PDP got it. And so they could begin to go there to cry. And then he was telling them, look, I'm working with this person. It's only Wike that had done that. All of them, that bad wagon effect took them. So the PDP should first apologize to Nigeria because they were the foundational democracy. They started teaching as if it becomes law, that this is what you can do, this is what you can do. They made the PDP. It was PDP, let me tell you, that removed the hierarchy, the protocol. Now governors became bigger than senators. It was PDP. It was Obasanjo who knew that he didn't have, even though it was in the PDP, that, you know, Obasanjo was coming from the PDM. You know, Alex Ekweme and Solomon, the 34, had already formed PDP. So the entire National Assembly were brought in by them. So Obasanjo knew that he didn't have that stake. What Obasanjo did was to brought the governors forum, lift up the governors, and so the governors started threatening the senators that were going to be the one to nominate you. So Obasanjo gave them that right. So it was the governor that was nominated. So the governor became so big. And you know what I like about that? Anything you do will come back to you. So when the governors finished their 8 years,
and became senators.
And became senators.
They were now at the mercy of the governors.
At the mercy of their boys who were governors. No wonder Bola Ahmed Tinubu didn't contest for Senate again. He didn't go. He knew that that was what was good to put to him. Because it was that at the mercy of the governors. So the governors would not dictate. So the former governors who are now in the Senate is now recalling back to this place because of what you did. So why not, when you are there, do the right thing? I'm also asking the APC to do the right thing.
All right.